Hey folks, we're back on the air. That was a bit of a mess, to say the least. We had the power kick bar kicked out from under our feet, and we lost the whole broadcast. And I'm disappointed to report that we also missed a try, the game's very first try, while we were off the air. So with the try going to Brady Carpenter of Capilano, the scoreline now 5 for Capilano and 3 in favor of Castaway Wanderers.
Well, it looks like Castaway almost had an opportunity there. Looked like it was dropped, and indeed was.
An unforced error there from Castaway Wanderers. Clayton Thornburg had the ball slip through his hands, disappointed for sure.
They will set up for a scrum. Ball won by Capilano.
Joel O'Neill stepping around a couple of tackles. Is there an overlap on the left-hand side? Capilano advancing the ball over halfway. Now they're slowed down. And that momentum stalls just a little bit here. Now Jeff McKinnon picking up the ball. He'll try to gain a couple more meters. Brought to the deck.
They got a
Space
break.
opening up on the right-hand side. Ball goes to ground. Tom Turner, the fullback, doing his best to collect it. Now some very sloppy rugby going on there as the ball bounces off several hands. It's on the deck. No one wants it. Knock on being waved here by the official. Advantage to Castaway Wanderers. And they will somehow plod their way forward. That was a very scrambly bit of rugby that we saw.
And with that, the Castaway Wanderers got the ball off the penalty.
Quick tap and go. Good dancing feet there from Clay Panga. Gaining about 15 meters for Castaways. Staying on his feet. They're trying to form the maul around him. Now finally going to deck. And the penalty to Capilano for an unplayable maul in that situation.
So I believe we'll have another scrum.
I can tell you our scoreboard overlay is not working the way it should right now, but the score is in fact 5 for Capilano and 3 for Castaway Wanderers. McKinnon with the ball going to his right. Ball spills off the hands of Tom Turner as he puts his hands up in the air in disgust as he had that ball turning around the corner and maybe took his eyes off the pass for just a moment.
Here we go with the Castaway Wanderers put in here. Capilano driving for the scrum.
Leaving their feet, the call. Capilano earning yet another penalty. They seem to be picking up most of the penalties here in the early going of this game. And while most of the play has been on midway, good touch finding kick will put Capilano on the offense once again.
Back line out.
Very high arching line out. Looking for that gap was Joel O'Neill. Just wrapped up. Bodies flying into that breakdown.
Capilano has an opportunity, but unfortunately steps into touch.
Foot in touch as they probe down the shady side of the field here at Klahani Park. And this will be a line out for Castaway Wanderers, who haven't quite seemed organized yet. They have a lineup that certainly is not quite the star-studded roster that they used in the last 2 weeks when picking up those much-needed wins. It will be up to the players they do have on the field to try to continue that momentum. But just looking at some of the holes that are left in their roster, with Ray Barkwell gone, with Adam Kleberger gone, with Jake Elnicki gone, it just makes it a little bit harder to
have that
push in that pack. And so a bit of an advantage potentially to be gained there from Capilano, should they be able to exploit it. That pack is in there right now, pushing that maul.
Capilano decides to pass it out wide.
Hannum back over to O'Neill. He's had the ball a lot so far this afternoon, earning another penalty, not rolling away. We've seen that a couple of times now.
Or not releasing the tackler.
So this is right in the middle of the field, and it's a deep kick at about 40 meters, but within range. Chris Robinson deciding what to do. There's a kicking tee available to him should he decide to go for the posts.
They're thinking about it, yep.
And it looks like that's going to be the decision, would be to go to posts. Robinson setting this one up very high on the tee. Try a low driving kick. Definitely has the leg for it.
He lines up.
There's that low kick I mentioned, but the ball just sails over the bar. I wasn't sure it had enough distance, but it in fact did, and that will tick the scoreboard over to 8 for Capilano and 3 for Castaway Wanderers. Deep restart collected by the kicker, Chris Robinson, and his partner kicks it into touch on the full, but was launched from behind the 22. So everything proceeding according to plan so far for Capilano, but it will be a Castaway Wanderers line out as Clayton Thornburg collects the ball. Only 3 men in the line out for Castaway Wanderers. Jump ball brought down by Glenn McKinnon.
And we have another penalty. This time for Castaway Wanderers.
And they'll go for territory with this penalty. Clay Panga kicking that one deep. It's inside the 22, and he'll be happy with that result. And it will give Castaway Wanderers their first chance inside the 22 in this game. We've seen about 15 minutes expire so far, and this is the first time they've been in that territory.
They do the first man.
That's a good-looking drive from the maul. They have a little ways to go yet, but this is a good attacking formation from Castaway Wanderers. Just outside that 5-meter line now, and pushing the ball into the middle of the field too, giving them more options. That drive continues. Capilano seems helpless to stop it. They're right at the line.
Ball is nowhere in sight.
Castaway Wanderers need to get it out of there. The ball is pushed to the line,
And no try.
Yeah, penalty coming up. Looked like the signal went up just before the ball was dotted down. A little bit of swimming there on the deck trying to get that ball across the line, but they do have the penalty. They choose to tap and go. I believe that was Albornoz, the flanker, taking the ball. Now to Panga. He'll scoop that one deep on the overlap. There's no one there except the winger. And try scored for Castaway Wanderers. Well worked try. Good identification there from Panga, seeing there was no one covering that right side wing. And Castaway Wanderers making that try look easy. So number 14 I have listed as Johnny Morris with that try.
They sucked the defensive Capilano players into that section, and then they decided to pass it out wide.
They certainly did suck everybody in, and a good over-the-top pass finding that winger. For our second try of the game, I'll apologize that you missed the first try, as that was the result of a power failure here at our broadcast position. Now the conversion attempt. High kick straight down the middle and good. Yep. An excellent looking conversion.
Made it look easy.
Certainly did. As I believe that was Lear Morris doing the kicking for Castaway Wanderers. And suddenly we have a very compelling scoreline. 10 points for Castaway Wanderers and 8 for the hometown Capilano RFC. It's a good looking restart, pressured there by McKinnon. The ball hits him in the chest, goes to ground. Be interesting to see what the call is here, and a knock on being called in favor of Capilano, so they will get the scrum. We'll turn our attention once again to our partners. We would like to thank Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorstenson's, and Langara Fishing Adventures.
Here we go with Capilano with the put in. Both nines looking over there.
It's messy at the bottom of that ruck right now. Robinson slow to roll away. The ball is presented back. Glenn McKinnon getting into the mix there.
Capilano still has it.
A little off the ball action. That pass right into the chest of Jeff McKinnon. I don't think he was ready for it. And a knock on being called as a result of that. Unforced error from Capilano's. A little bit of reprieve to Castaway Wanderers.
It seems to be our scoreboard on the bottom of your screen is working now.
It certainly is. Now it's just a matter of updating it for what we have lost in the last few minutes while we sorted that out.
During that, there was a penalty in the scrum. So
Castaway Wanderers,
thank you, decided to kick into touch.
Castaways looking dangerous on their last offensive foray. This time they're still outside the 22-meter line, but they are pressing the attack. Good high lifting there as that ball was delivered straight into the hands of Kelleher. And once again, we're seeing that maul push the ball forward. Look to
that's been effective
Castaway
today.
Wanderers to use that whenever they can. It seems to be working for them so far.
They go for the slow ball.
Thornburg getting a couple more meters now. They're right at the 22. Some hard yards left to get those points, but it's going according to the plan right now. But no longer is that the case, as this penalty
is for holding on to the ball.
So a break there for Capilano will allow them to clear their lines. As Castaway Wanderers were playing things slowly, but it was a dangerous looking piece of rugby they were building towards there. And we haven't seen a whole lot of expansive rugby yet from Castaway Wanderers. Their game plan just to work the ball through the forwards, use their pack, try to push Capilano around. Two of the bigger clubs you're going to see in the CDI Premier League on display here today.
Oh,
A very hard tackle, which I'm not sure we caught on camera, just as the
we indeed did.
centers released the ball to the wingers, but now Castaway Wanderers coming back the other way, and an equally hard tackle leveled there.
Well, we got that one.
And suddenly the intensity of this game picks up, as that was Reed Tucker laying down the punishment for Capilano. A little bit of anger now as a result of those two hits, as you would expect, but no extracurricular activities. Castaway Wanderers will be given this penalty and an opportunity to slow things down, and they're deciding whether they want to kick for territory or maybe tap. But of course the territorial kick
Is no good.
just staying in, and it's going to be spun back to Chris Robinson, who will play it to Hannum to his left, and they'll try to run hands down the line. The fullback nearly breaking through the tackle line. Tom Turner is held up, and the slow ball eventually will be brought to Joel O'Neill. We've called his name several times. Now on the right side, is there any support there for McKinnon?
There
The
indeed
answer
is.
yes, as there are several bodies over top of him, and a penalty is earned for
not-
hands in the ruck.
Yep.
Probably too far to kick for posts. I would expect a kick to the corner in this situation.
Yeah. Maybe if they're a little more closer to the center, then they would maybe try it, but they're going to go for touch.
Touch finding kick inside the 22. So do Capilano have a reply for that Castaway Wanderers try we saw moments ago? As we get into the final few minutes of the first half.
This indeed is a big line out. They are in the 22.
That one didn't go as designed. Ball landing in the hands of the last jumper there for Castaway Wanderers, and the ball will be kicked clear. Still in play. A little bit of an up and under attempted by Tom Turner, but out kicking his coverage, and they will play a kicking territorial game. Panga changes his mind, and this deep kick right on halfway will sail into touch. Quickly taken by McKinnon.
But ref says no.
So we'll slow things down, and we'll get the put in on this, not the put in, but the throw in on this lineout will go to Capilano. Clayton Hunter-James back there to set this one up.
Capilano probably wants to get this line out correct, not like the last one that they just had.
Yeah, looked a little bit out of form on that last line out, which was disappointing for them as they were in a good scoring position. A little more work to do in this case. Bit dangerous as Jeff McKinnon up in the air, had his feet taken out from under him, but did land safely, and Capilano once again the beneficiary of a penalty. They've been the beneficiary of quite a few calls so far.
Yeah.
Dictating their game to Castaway Wanderers, but they are trailing right now, and they will look to use this offensive foray to get some more points on the board. So basically a redo of what we saw about 2 minutes ago. Castaway will be on the defense.
But this time they're going to be a little bit outside the 22, not in the 22.
once again, not as drawn up. Castaway Wanderers stealing that ball on the line out, and Clayton Thorber has it. Bodies rolling over the top of the pile there as Castaway Wanderers try to set up that halfback combination. Panga's kick is charged down. The ball does go to hand, but we'll bring this one back
For an offside.
You're always a little suspicious when somebody charges down a kick that quickly and that effectively, whether they got off the mark just a little bit early, and that was the judgment of our referee, Sarah Turner, here today. Another penalty kick staying in play.
Once again.
That's the third time we've seen that. Robinson passing it over to Kelleher. Chase Kelleher, a name we have not yet called so far this afternoon. Is there any room there for Tom Turner? Shedding one tackler, fending another with the offload. Good bit of running there from Turner, setting up a potential opportunity for Capilano. Their fly half, Hannum probing forward. They have about 15 more meters to go right underneath the posts. No advantage in numbers on the right side, so that ball stops right at the gain line. A good leg drive will buy them a couple more meters, though. Kelleher pushed back by Albornoz. Good strong push from the number 8. And all that territory just as quickly gained is lost.
They go for the slow ball.
McKinnon's a very powerful runner, but he is rebuffed in that attack. Robinson over to O'Neill. Tries the behind the back offload. Nowhere to go for Pankratz as he's wrapped up. So quick inside movement, Kelleher.
Capilano still with the ball.
Executing a number of phases here. I believe advantage being called in favor of Capilano, and that is indeed the case. A penalty for the offside once again.
Now Capilano will probably go for goal here. A decision pending.
Capilano really imposing their will so far in this game and getting a lot of infractions called against Castaway Wanderers.
And they will go for the kick.
It's maybe a bit surprising that CW is in fact leading 10-8 at this point, given the amount of territory and amount of ball that Capilano has had, but they have an opportunity right now to reverse that situation and go on top with a kick from 22 pretty much straight away. Chris Robinson lining up this attempt at posts.
One last glance at the posts. The kick is up.
Easily splitting the uprights, and Capilano have regained the lead, although by the smallest of margins. They are now in front 11-10.
So by 1 point. Cowichan will indeed start the restart. And there's the ball.
Just identifying the location of the ball, and they'll bring it back in for the restart. Panga's restart travels 12 meters off the hands of Tucker. Check that, McKinnon, and spilled into touch. So not exactly how you'd want to see a restart work from either team's perspective, but the bounce goes the way of Castaway Wanderers, and they will have the opportunity on this line out to get things back underway.
They go further front.
Good competitive line out there from both teams. Castaway Wanderers able to secure the ball.
Ball's on the
McKinnon
deck.
trying to come in from the side there. No call. Here's a line break on for Albornoz, and he is brought down. Good territory gain, though, for Castaway Wanderers, and they have earned the penalty as well. And do we see the game of penalty kicks continue, or does Castaway Wanderers have more points in mind?
You never know.
I don't have the clock in front of me, but I suspect there's probably about 5 minutes left. So
Yeah.
time not the consideration in making the decision here in terms of how much time remaining left in the first half. But I believe they will be going for the points, and it does appear that way. As number 12, Lear Morris, who looked to be in good form on that conversion that we saw from the corner, will have a much easier job of this. With just over 10 minutes and 10 meters and no angle whatsoever as he's straight away from the posts.
Nice easy kick there.
And he easily pokes that one through.
I guess we had less time.
Time was in fact a consideration, proving me to be inaccurate once again, as our scoreboard also is currently inaccurate. That should be 13 for Castaway Wanderers and 11 for Capilano is your halftime score. Thank you for sticking with us.
And we're back on the action. And apparently we have no video, so we're going to do it just like a radio show. Here we go with Castaway Wanderers. They pitch it back for the kick. It's up. Running onto that is number 11 for Brady. Capilano decides to go for the quick tap. Capilano still in possession. Lost to Castaway. Capilano fullback passes it off. Capilano on the deck with it. They decide to go for the kick. Takes an awkward bounce there. Knock on by Castaways Wanderers scrum half, number 9, Riley McPherson. That will indeed result into a scrum for a put in for Capilano. Yeah,
And we have
thanks.
a score line of 13 for Capilano and 13 for Castaway Wanderers and 11 for Capilano. There is about 30 minutes left here in the second half. We have no video streaming. Unfortunately, everything in our system showed the video should be working. It's just not making its way to the web. And I'll continue to work on that. In the meantime, we have a kick coming up for Chris Robinson, who's straight away from the posts after a penalty, and he's looking to once again plod Capilano back into the lead. They have exchanged kicks back and forth for the last couple of
minutes,
scores. Yeah. And right now it's Castaway Wanderers on top, but a very makeable kick for Chris Robinson as he sets this one up, hoping to put Capilano back in the lead.
Taking his paces back. Looks up at the posts. Lines up. And it's indeed good.
Easily done from Chris Robinson, and that'll set the score line now at 14 for Capilano, 13 for Castaway Wanderers. And for two teams that are at opposite ends of the tables right now, a great contest between these two clubs.
Exactly, yeah. They decide to go for the quick kick. Capilano has the ball. They run into contact there with Jeff McKinnon.
Ball's kicked into Castaway Wanderers territory. Aaron Frisbee running back after chasing it inside his own 22. No options except to boot it back the other way, and that will find touch. 10-meter line.
And there's a quick line out there. But they were not at the mark, the ref says. A little cheeky play there. There's the fullback, number 15, Aaron. Nope, that's wrong team. Tom Turner throwing it at the hooker for Cowichan. Nope, damn. Check that, CW.
Just to remind our fans, we are recording the game video. We will have that up on BC Rugby later, and our apologies in sincerest terms for not being able to get the video quality up to you.
Ball lost by CW. A little kick there. Being there is Brady Carpenter. Capilano still indeed has the ball.
Castaway Wanderers pleading with the referee for a call at that breakdown. Ball just on the Capilano side of halfway. And the call will go, in fact, in the way of Castaway Wanderers.
We have a new substitution made for the Castaway Wanderers. Their second row, we do not got those numbers, but they indeed made a substitution.
Castaway Wanderers with the put in on this scrum. McPherson feeds the scrum. It starts to wheel. And a penalty to
Castaway
Capilano, who take it quickly. Glenn McKinnon just wrapped up with an ankle tackle. Do they have some space on the left side? Looks like some extra numbers. Brady Carpenter steps back inside. They are inside Castaway Wanderers territory, just over the 10-meter line. Some players getting stepped on in the bottom of that ruck. Ball spun back to Frisbee. He looks for the deep kick, and the ball is going to be collected at the back by Glenn Robinson. Check that, Glenn McKinnon.
A little
bit of a fancy pass there from Ham as he tries to find his winger, but ball goes to ground. Castaway is looking for the turnover here. Capilano able to secure it. O'Neill hoists it downfield. It lands right on 22.
A little knock there, but ref
Keenan
says
Horton.
play on.
Ref does say play on. Fans disappointed with that. A counter run by Castaway Wanderers. Foot and touch is the call right at halfway.
That did look like a little tap with the hand there.
You're right. Not much to choose from between these two clubs right now. 14 for Capilanos, 13 for Castaway Wanderers. Just over 25 minutes left to play here in the second half.
And it looks like we're having a scrum. Didn't know what quite the call was there, but we are resulting in a scrum. Capilano just made their first substitution of the game.
Sam Lanigan, the second rower, coming off. McKinnon drives the ball forward for Capilano. Some hands in the ruck. Potentially no call there from Sarah Turner. Everything is clean, he says. Play on. And now a call coming. We've seen a lot of penalties in this game. This one going against Capilano. Castaways benefiting from not releasing the ball. Call there. And so Clay Panga deciding what to do. He has the ball in hand and will kick it into Capilano territory, high into the trees. And again, a territorial game, just ping-ponging back and forth beside either end of the halfway line. No one getting inside those 22s just yet. And only the narrowest of margins separating these two teams at 14-13 in favor of Capilano.
Failed attempt. Line out there for CW, so they will have a Capilano scrum. 8-man decides to pick it. They pitch it out.
Yanagia brought down by two tacklers once again right on halfway. Ball slips out, picked up off the deck, but a knock on. Check that, it's going to be hands in the ruck call. Castaway Wanderers getting penalized, being a little too aggressive on the deck. And this time it'll be Capilano's turn to kick the ball to touch. It's a real battle of attrition out there. Both sides not able to gain the territory they need to score points. Points coming mostly from the boot. And this deep kick will, for about the 5th time today, stay in play, but now it bounces and it will go through the back of the in-goal area and is kicked dead, so we'll get a restart. That's some pretty disappointing kicking we've seen from both teams, unable to find those those touch-finding kicks when they need them. On a penalty, I don't know, it's pretty tough. It makes a coach quite upset, I would say, and it makes the players sort of breathe that sigh of disbelief as their kicker unable to find the touch line, which means they have to go back and get back to work on midway instead of being on the attack. The ball's out of that scrum. It just rolled right through the tunnel, but a penalty there to Castaway Wanderers. And as I mentioned a moment ago, the game of back and forth ping pong on midway continues. Panga's kick is a decent one.
Probably not as far as he wanted, but
I would say not as deep as he wanted. Agreed.
At least going into touch.
Yeah, at least going into touch is right. Now with the hooker throwing it in for Castaway Wanderers, that's Clayton Thorber. He goes near side. The ball quickly taken by Castaways. A little loop to Panga, now over to his centers. Lyra Morris spills the ball forward. Advantage being played to Capilano as they collect the ball, trying to run it out from inside their own 22. There's a bit of space out there for Carpenter to work with. Hannam back inside as that ball was slowed down. Robinson to O'Neill, trying to break a tackle. One of those little sevens offloads that we see so often, but not gaining any territory as a result. Good defense from both of these teams, really preventing those line breaks throughout the day. Now a little pass back inside. Probing pass, Tom Turner trying to find a man. Now to the outside, Yannick has got one man to beat. Does he have any support with him? Yannick is tackled before he can get the ball into the hands of Turner, but he is inside the 22. Now Hunter
with
James
the opportunity.
at the 7 or 8 meters to go. Turner trying to stay in bounds as Castaways try to push him out. He does stay inside. 5 meters left. Capilano trying to secure the ball, and they get a penalty. Offside is the call against the Castaway Wanderers. So our first scoring opportunity in several minutes.
Will Capilano do the tap and go, or would they pass it out, or would they kick?
With about 5 meters to go. There you go with the tap and go. Now the ball in the hands of McKinnon. He's so hard to bring down. Still on his feet. Now brought down. Hannam. Ball poked as he tried to pass it over to Yannick, but the pass does successfully make it over to him. Now the ball spilled forward. Another knock on could be the result of this. Castaway Wanderers do have the ball on the turnover. McPherson trying to draw the Capilano's players offside, throwing it back to the halfback, and the kick is deep and into touch at the 22-meter line. Castaways are able to get out of trouble for the short term, but they still have some work to do. Down on the field is Jason Allen. We haven't said his name much today. The tight head prop for Castaway Wanderers. And he is slowly getting up to his feet now. We set up for this line out. Capilano's with the throw. Going to the middle. And a maul is formed right on the 22-meter line.
Still going. Stop there.
Players still on their feet, but no territory being gained as Castaways pile in. And now it's just shifting from side to side, just inside the 22. Now Capilano's got the bus driving forward, picking up about 5 meters there. The ball is under a bunch of bodies, and finally it's worked out. Yannick Guillot with the ball. He'll spin it to Turner. There's an opportunity on. Turner is tackled right at the 5-meter line. Capilano's diving in there, trying to secure the ball, and they do. Now just 2 meters short. Ball going to ground, and a penalty. Not releasing the ball.
Little push and shove after the whistle there.
Capilano is very frustrated with how things are going. That's the second time in the last few minutes they have an opportunity from the 5-meter line. Now Glenn McKinnon and Aaron Frisbee getting into it. And no punches thrown, but the arm's definitely up. Both players starting to look a bit like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish logo right now as they got their hands up and no punches being thrown. And of course, the referee and their teammates step in there to separate everybody, so no infractions being called other than the original not releasing. The ball call from our official, and Castaway Wanderers will now be able to kick the ball into touch. Clay Panga with the ball, looking to relieve their lines once again.
Little time delay here.
Yeah, not sure what the delay is as they sort through the situation there. A little bit of instructions to the team captains. John Braddock being given some clarification from our referee into that tussle that just happened. This touch-finding kick right on the line and just into touch. On the 10-meter line inside Castaway's half.
Time off for some reason.
And our referee will confer with the touch judge. Time back on.
3-man line out here.
Thornburg's throw high and straight over to Albornoz, bringing it down. Panga now with the pass to the middle. McPherson to Albornoz. To the gain line. Now Jason Allen, who stays in the game after that injury a couple minutes ago, trying to gain some territory for his team. Now they'll use the backs. Frisbee spinning the ball all the way to the left. Is there anything on there? It doesn't look like it. The ball controlled by Castaway Wanderers and a penalty coming on the play. They'll bring this one back to an earlier infraction for an offside. And as the clock continues to tick down, Capilano with the narrowest of leads at 14-13.
It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine that both of these teams are on opposite ends in the standings.
Capilano with the ball in their own territory, and how much of this game has been played between those 10-meter lines? Neither team gaining any kind of attacking advantage. Sidestep denied as Brady Carpenter brought down for Capilano. Robinson to McKinnon. McKinnon happy just to keep the ball, put his head down and charge forward.
Ball pitched out.
Good offload. Yanagia breaks over the halfway line. Now over the 10-meter line. The whistle sounds once again, and a penalty being called here. This one to the benefit of Castaway Wanderers. A lot of disconnected, a lot of disjointed rugby so far this afternoon.
Good kick there by Castaway Wanderers.
Indeed, a good touch-finding kick on 22 for Castaways. And they'll have an opportunity to set up. They need at least 2 more points for the win. They have about 20 minutes left to work with. And it should be a great finish between these two clubs. I can tell you right now, the live streaming video option is pretty much done for today. We will continue this audio broadcast, and when we have the game available on the hard drive on YouTube, we'll get it up there so you can watch the game at your leisure later on. And our sincerest apologies for not being able to stream this game to you.
A penalty here against Capilano.
And could this be an opportunity for Castaway Wanderers just to get the scoreboard ticking over in their advantage? Because they are at about the 22-meter line and pretty straight away from the post, just a very slight angle. And it will indeed be a choice of kicking for posts. Lear Morris, who has hit one of these so far today,
has the opportunity to put his team in front.
Check that, he's got 2 penalty kicks so far today. This would be his 3rd as he sets up this penalty kick opportunity.
Picks up.
And that kick is good.
Both touch judges nod. And with that, Castaway Wanderers are ahead.
And the lead switches hands once again. Now Capilano trailing by a score of 14-16.
Capilano decides to do an onside.
Hannum choosing to go over the top.
Good choice there.
Outside the reach, but it was nicely collected by, I believe, Yanagia. Capilano trying their luck inside the 22. Low pass, picked up off the shoelaces. Play on, says the referee. Turner stepping over the 22, getting the ball to Chase Kelleher. The arms are definitely in that tackle as he is wrapped up, nowhere to go. And now Castaway Wanderers have organized their defensive line. But maybe a bit of a break on here, as that looked like possibly one of the McKinnons getting the ball and driving it forward for Capilano's. Now about 15 more meters to go. Capilano's will try to get it all the way to the right-hand side. Pancratz, not quite enough to get over the line, but it is about 5 more meters here for Capilano's as they push for the try.
Big push here for Capilano.
Now in the middle of the field, Hannum to Turner. He's met quickly, but he shakes off that tackle, offloads, and a try scored for Capilano. That was Craig Rice with the try, one of the reserves. Well done to Craig Rice as he got that offload and dove across the line. And once again, the lead has exchanged hands. Capilano with 19 to their credit. Castaway Wanderers 16. Keep in mind the Capilano conversion still to come. Conversion to kick is going to drift wide. So we remain separated by just the 3 points. $19 in favor of Capilano, 16 in favor of Castaway Wanderers.
Ref signaling to both teams that there's only 10 minutes left in this contest.
So here we go with the final 10 minutes of the game. Still everything to play for between these two clubs. McKinnon will get things started for Capilano. Going to the backs, that ball is kicked and it probably will stay in. Yes, it does, nicely collected there by number 20 for Castaway Wanderers. No name associated with that number at this time. Glenn McKinnon taking the high ball. He'll run with it. I have not seen him pass it too many times today.
Yeah.
But that is where Capilanos are effective, just putting their head down and charging forward. Now they'll get it to the backs. Yanagia with an offload back inside. Ball goes to ground. It's up for grabs.
Dribble there.
Bit of a fight behind the play. Yanagia and Robinson in the mix. There's some forearms being thrown. I wouldn't call any of those a punch necessarily, but the referees are in there to split it up. All that happening behind the play.
Ref blowing it down.
The two teams separated. Frisbee's down on the backfield by the look of it for Castaway Wanderers, although he could just be catching his breath. The referee and his touch judge talking things over. It's Rod Watkins, the touch judge, Sarah Turner, our referee. I haven't seen him reach to his pocket just yet.
Asking for both captains.
We may see a card here being produced,
Yep.
and indeed there is a card being produced
To both teams.
So Yanagia will be sent off for Capilano.
Yanagia and number 13 for Castaway Wanderers.
Adam Bontis on our roster at number 13 for Castaway Wanderers asked to leave the game for the duration as we are inside the last 10 minutes. So we'll play a little 14-on-14 rugby to finish this game.
A really big spaced out lineup for Castaway Wanderers.
Get the ball.
Not straight, says the referee. They choose for the scrum.
So what the scrum put in for Capilanos, they are right on halfway. Capilanos push back and the ball is out, but it is collected in the backfield. A lot of pressure there as McPherson makes the tackle for Castaways. They're trying to turn it over, but Capilano still able to maintain possession. McKinnon with the ball, shrugging off a couple of tacklers, staying on his feet, now brought down.
Ball is at the deck. Capilano decided to do a slow ball.
McKinnon has had his mitts on that ball quite often today. He has it once again. Robinson under the pile, scooping it up. Hannum trying the sidestep, trying the forearm. Castaways attempting to rip the ball from possession. And now that
They indeed do.
turnover ball there for Castaway Wanderers. Albornoz looking for help, trying to offload. No one there. The ball is presented, and McPherson will get it over to the hooker, Thornburg. Thornburg with the fend, and the offload goes into the feet. And so that will be a knock-on advantage being played for Capilano. They'll switch the direction of attack. Kelleher, there's a little bit of space here on the left side. An offload collected by Turner, but not cleanly, slows down his run. Turner still with the ball. Brought down just outside the 22. Robinson now over to Jeff McKinnon, to Glenn McKinnon. Leading with his upper body, and now back to Jeff McKinnon once more. Still right around that 22-meter line. Capilano's leading by 3. We got 5 minutes left to play. Castaway Wanderers working hard to try to get the ball back a little too aggressively. They're offside, and Capilano will get this penalty with an opportunity to extend their lead beyond that single 3-point margin they have. And I would expect them to go for posts and try to make this a 2-point game. But strategically, it's a very important call whether you decide to go for posts or be aggressive and try to finish this game off with the try.
And they'll try to do that by kicking into touch.
So big decision here for Capilano. Good kick into the corner. They'll have about 10 more meters to go once they get the ball back, should they be able to get the ball back on this lineout. A lot of pressure on Castaway Wanderers to try to steal this ball in the lineout. They'll have a great amount of work to do in order to do that. The Capilano's lineout has looked secure throughout this second half. They had a couple of missed opportunities in the first half, but much improved after the halftime talk. Hunter James throws it in. Capilano retains the ball. They skip the maul altogether, getting the ball to Rice. He is brought down a couple meters short. But now the ball is being pressed forward, and they're pretty close to the try line. Slow ball, the order of the day right now. Can they get it over the line? Capilano trying to put this game away, leading by 3 and only meters to go. Now the ball spun out to Hanam, over the top to Turner. And Turner scores easily in the corner. Capilano will win this game. Barring a miracle comeback in the final closing minutes, there might be enough time to do a restart. But with that 3-point advantage plus the try, we got 8 points as a gap, and that should pretty much wrap things up. So that puts the score at 24 for Capilano, 16 for Castaway Wanderers.
It was a hard-fought game altogether.
And Chris Robinson will line up this deep and angular conversion kick. Not so consequential with that 8-point lead right now. But if you got to score off the restart, you never know. So these points, insurance at this point in time. And his kick is drifting wide right. So enough time remaining here for a restart. Not much beyond that. Panka takes that restart and goes deep, kicking the ball to Pankratz, I believe, who has the ball at his own 22. He'll load it back inside to Glenn McKinnon, who hasn't appeared on the score sheet but has had a very big impact on this game today. Slow ball by Capilano as they just try to kill the last few minutes of this match. And it's all about securing possession for Capilano right now.
They just want to keep the possession.
We'll try a little bit more open rugby here as they spin the ball to the backs. Carpenter brought to the ground. Now Kelleher getting the ball to his left. One more pass to go. Picked up nicely by the winger, who will take it back inside. That's not exactly what you want to do when it comes to trying to keep possession. But it worked out as Capilano are able to secure this penalty.
For off your feet.
And some more frustration from Castaway Wanderers, broken up before further cards being issued. And Castaway Wanderers basically running out of time in this one.
1 minute, the ref says 1 minute.
Ball is kicked into touch. No final whistle just yet, so we'll have time for this line out. Clayton Thorber throwing it in. Check that, that was a penalty, so it's going to be Clayton Hunter James throwing it in for Capilano. Capilano able to secure the ball on the line out. McKinnon with the ball, he's tackled. That ball is out, and another penalty coming to Capilano. Once again, Castaway Wanderers a little too aggressive. They have gone offside. The score right now, 24 for Capilano, 16 for Castaway Wanderers. The ball is kicked into touch, and that will wrap up our game. Final score, Capilano 24, Castaway Wanderers 16. For Caden Ward, I'm Brendan Monroe. Thanks for joining us for this broadcast. And again, we apologize that we weren't able to deliver it to you live with video. We thank you for sticking with us and enjoying the audio broadcast. We will have the game loaded up onto YouTube so you can watch it in its entirety. I know we do have the video working, and we will get this sorted out for our next game of the week. In the meantime, we would like to thank our sponsors who help us deliver rugby every Saturday: Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorstenson's, and Langara Fishing Adventures. Capilano, 5 wins in a row after this 24-16 victory over Castaway Wanderers. They continue their assault on the top of the table. Castaway Wanderers will need to refocus as they are still in that relegation zone. Join us for our coverage next week as we bring you the game of the week next Saturday at 2:45. Until then, enjoy your week and have a great weekend.